Hey friends, Sleepy here, and welcome to an episode of my weekly playlist series. I can't believe we made it to another Friday already. This past week has just flown by for me. Been incredibly busy, got a lot of stuff accomplished, which unfortunately means I didn't have a lot of time to play games, which has kind of been a trend the last couple of months for me. But I did manage to squeeze in a few hours of gaming this week on a couple different days, and I've got two games to share with you guys this week that I have been having a lot of fun playing. I'd like to get your guys' thoughts and opinions on the games I shared with you guys, as I could let you guys know my thoughts and opinions on them. I'd also like to hear about the games you guys are playing, as that gives me ideas on new games to check out. And I really do love hearing about the games you guys play, as it gives me ideas of new games to check out. So keep those stories coming about the games you guys are playing. Keep sharing them with me, because I really appreciate it. I also would love any suggestions on games you guys think I should check out, as I'm always looking for new games to experience, games I might have missed. I like to play games for a variety of consoles and a variety of genres. Though lately this year has been really big on me playing my Xbox One, as for many years it didn't get a whole lot of love from me, didn't get a whole lot of play. And so I've really been making up for that this year, because I had missed so many Xbox One titles, so many wonderful games over the past. Geez, when did I get that Xbox One? It'll just been out for, I can't even think, because it's so freaking late right now. But it's been out for a very long time, and there's just so many games I missed on the console that I'm glad that I'm able to go through the library. So we'll get started here. This first one I have played earlier in the year, but I kind of put it down as I was waiting for him to patch some issues and stuff with the game, and that is Aliens Fireteam Elite, which this is for the PS4, the Xbox One, Xbox Series X, PS5, and PC. Now, I'm not gonna say that this is like the best groundbreaking Aliens game that you're ever gonna play, and it's gonna absolutely blow your mind or anything, but it is still a fun game. Now, there were some things I didn't like about it, and there's stuff I do like about it. I'll give you guys a little description on the back about the game. So it says, fight hordes of deadly xenomorphs, discover hidden corporate secrets, and explore ancient alien ruins across 4 unique campaigns in the Alien universe. Join an elite fire team as your own colonial marine aboard the UAS Endeavor. Endure a dangerous universe and fight for survival together. Experience a 3-player co-op. Survive the hive. Customize your fire team. So, at the heart of this game is a co-op survival shooter game, with like a horde mode type of mentality to it, which it does have some story, but it's not going to be it's not like a very deep and compelling story. And I do like the voice acting in the game, but at the same time, the dialogue just feels kind of like a B movie, and just not something that would, for me, set the standard for what should be an Aliens universe. And it really comes down to the writing, unfortunately. It's just the writing for the story is just not done that really well. Even though I find the game fun to play, it's really enjoyable. It's made for you to just to play it over and over, kind of like a Left 4 Dead type of game, where you just keep having the fun of it is just battling the aliens and stuff, and the story kind of takes the back seat to it, where I personally would prefer if the story was the main focus, as they could make this kind of game with a very compelling story. They always rush these stories in the games, getting right into the action. They don't build up any kind of suspense or terror, anything. Like if you watch the original Alien movie, it took an hour before you even saw the alien, and getting into any kind of action things. Even aliens took a while before they actually encountered the aliens to actually battle. And they could have done something similar with this game, trying to build up a sense. But of course, people want an action game. They want to get right into the fighting and killing and everything. Where me personally, I would prefer a slower approach, which you could still make it fun, like in the mystery and of the unknown of the alien, and still make it scary, and yet still have an action game at the same time. So for me, I really wish this had a better story. But for me, I'm still having fun with it, and it was only I think a $30 game when it was brand new, and I'm still glad to get it, as I'm an absolute massive fan of the Alien universe. I've loved it ever since I watched that original Alien movie as a kid, as it scared the shit out of me. And then the second one I loved it anymore. I loved it even more than the first one. Alien 3 wasn't a huge fan of it. I mean, I enjoyed it, but you know, it is what it is. And then Alien Resurrection was another one of those that was fun, but not my favorite. Where like the first two are my favorite, and so I've always loved Aliens video games, and I always wanted to get an Alien game that, you know, remind me of the second movie. And the ones that have ever got close to it are the Alien vs Predator games. So when I heard about a new Aliens game coming out, you know, I had really high hopes for it. And unfortunately, you know, we got Aliens Fireteam, which I still would recommend for you to pick up because it's a cheap title and it's fun, especially if you're a big Aliens fan like I am. I'd recommend picking it up because it is a fun game. There are some fun things I like about it. You know, I just was not a big fan of the story elements to it with over the 4 campaigns. You know, it's like, imagine if, you know, they had the quality of a Gears of War story, but with an Aliens franchise. Like, that's the kind of game I would love. It would just be, you know, a AAA huge blockbuster game. I just don't think we'll ever get something like that. But I do appreciate that at least they're still keeping the Aliens franchise alive with games like this. Now, the stuff that I did like about it is you get to create and customize your own Marine. You make it look like however you want to. I got a guy that looks similar to myself, so that's really cool. They have different classes, so you can play as different kinds of Marines. They have one you can play like a medic. They have one that's a demolitioner, which I like to play because you get a pulse rifle and a smart gun. Because I loved the smart guns that Drake and Vasquez used in the Aliens movie. Like the smart gun was just awesome. And anytime you have those in the game, I always want to use those weapons because they're really powerful, have a lot of ammo, and they help when you're fighting waves of enemies. And then they have a couple other classes. And one thing too that is good that is since this game release, you know, they've released a lot of patches. They've actually added another class, and they had talked about that they were looking into adding more campaign DLC to this game in the future. We'll see if that actually happens or not, which I would definitely love to look into that because I beat the first campaign and I'm working on the second campaign. I just beat the first mission of 3, so each campaign's broken up into 3 missions, and it's basically kind of one of these games where you kind of start at point A, go to point B, fight waves of enemies, and you kind of rinse and repeat from there. And which is kind of like that whole Left 4 Dead formula, you know, going from point A to point B and fighting the hordes of zombies. Well, it's similar to this game. And obviously, it's meant for you to play these campaigns over and over and over again. And that might be a reason why the story is kind of a loose thing, so that, you know, you're going through this deep, meaningful story all the time. But I think they could have made the deep, compelling story of the campaign and then had these missions as a side thing, because there is a horde mode thing you can unlock in quick match and something after you beat the campaigns. So I'll have to look into seeing how that horde mode is. But I mean, I am having fun with the game. You know, I don't want you guys to think I didn't enjoy it. It's just it could have been a lot better than it is, but I'm still enjoying it. I'd give it like a 6 out of 10, maybe like a 6.5 out of 10 game. I do like that there are different xenomorphs that you fight. There's new ones that have never been seen before, which is really cool. Ones that spit acid and different colored ones. And then I love how they treat any alien that was actually created from a human are like the warrior aliens or the drone type of aliens that we saw in the Alien films, which were super strong, you know, like 6 feet tall. And those ones are incredibly hard to fight in this game and to kill, which is cool. So I did really like that. You can customize your Marine too as you earn in-game loot money that you can use to buy accessories like hats and helmets and stuff and different colored vests and things to use for your weapons. You can customize skins on weapons stuff, and there's all kinds of attachments. You can upgrade your weapons they have, you know, your standard pulse rifle. They've got your smart gun, shotgun, handguns, and then they have a variety of different weapons in between, and different ones that weren't in the movies but were in some other Alien games and some that weren't in Alien games. So I'm still enjoying all the customization that you have in the game that you earn as you play through, and you level up your character. And every class that you have, you know, actually level up, and different ones play differently. So now this is meant to be played co-op with 2 live humans. However, you can play solo, and it'll give you 2 android companions, which they're not like the full synthetics of like a bishop or anything. There are lower grade ones that are just meant for combat, and they do a pretty good job as long as you play on easy or normal. Once you get above that, there's a couple more higher difficulty levels. There's no way that the AI will be able to keep up with you, and there are some difficult times, even on normal difficulty, that I died a couple times in missions where we all got down because everybody has a point where they can get knocked down when you run out of health, because you have health packs and stuff that you have to use, that you can get knocked down a maximum of 4 times. The fifth time, you're dead and you fail the mission. Now, however, if you all three get knocked down at the same time and can't be revived, like a Gears of War not down but not out, and you would go over and revive the person, then you fail the mission. And sometimes the computer can't get to you. But they do a pretty, fairly good job of helping you kill the enemies. And you do get ranked for the type of kills you do, and assisting and revives and stuff like that. And you do fight the waves of enemies and stuff. So I do like the game. It's just it was a little bit of a disappointment as far as story wise goes. I would have loved a much deeper story, and maybe one day we'll get the Aliens game that I've always craved. I would just love a really deep, rich game with like story and stuff too. Like the music in this, I enjoyed, but I really wish they had been able to use the score from the second Aliens show. I'm sure probably licensing and issues they couldn't, but that music in that movie was just perfect. It set the atmosphere of being like in terror, and then the action scenes were just action pumped. Watching those scenes, the music really played a pivotal role in that movie, and bringing the audience into being scared or wanting to, like pumped up for the action and stuff. That music was just phenomenal. I wish they had been able to incorporate that into this game. But, you know, definitely give this one a chance, because it's a fairly cheap one. I've been actually seeing a couple, not many, because it didn't get a huge physical print run, but I've seen some used copies here between 15 and like $20. Definitely think you guys should check out, especially if you're a big Aliens fan like me. Check out Aliens Fireteam Elite, because you can play it online, and there are some interesting aspects and stuff to the game that I like. Even though it has a pretty weak story, it's still overall fun gameplay, and I think you guys should check it out. So definitely check out Aliens Fireteam Elite. The other game we're going to talk about here is from my Batman Return to Arkham, is Batman Arkham City, which I love the Batman Arkham games. Such a phenomenal series of Batman games. The graphics are just amazing on this. I'm playing on my Xbox One X and just a regular 1080p TV. I can only imagine how amazing it looks on a 4K TV. They did an amazing job on the graphics. The music is awesome. They have voice actors that are awesome. Mark Hamill does the voice of the Joker, which is great. And man, I was trying to think of the of I forget what his name is now. I just can't think of his name, that plays Batman in the animated series. Um, he does the voice for Batman in this game too, which is great. The guy that voices Alfred is awesome. I mean, all the villains, everybody, top-notch voice actors were chosen for these games. Like, you can see that the love for Batman and the DC universe and everything, the people who created this game, you could tell they were passionate about Batman and got all the details down right. The items he uses, that help him out, the lore, the world, just everything about this game is just screams big time AAA, and that's who made this game. And that's one reason why I really enjoyed it. It's awesome. I went through and beat Arkham Asylum finally again on the Xbox One here. I had beat it on the 360, and then I wanted to beat the Xbox One copy, and I finally did beat it. And then I started playing Arkham City now, and I wanted to beat the Xbox One version of that, and I'm having a blast with it as I'm going through and getting all the Riddler puzzles again, just like you had in Arkham Asylum. However, unlike Arkham Asylum, where you were stuck to just that little island that's the Arkham prison and stuff, you actually have a chunk of the city to go through, which is called Arkham City, that you get to expand upon. And there's different villains and stuff that you're gonna run into from the Batman universe, and they all have their own henchmen, and they all fight differently, and there's different bosses for you to encounter. There's a wonderful story for you to go through Arkham City. But another thing I really liked is they have a bunch of side missions you can take on, which you don't have to if you don't want to, but you can unlock new stuff, learn new lore, and upgrade Batman along the way. So it's something I've really been enjoying, is the story in this game. Heavily, heavily story focused game, which has amazing graphics, music. The combat is great in this. I really love it. It reminds me of like an Assassin's Creed, where you can fight a huge group of enemies, and you have to learn how to counter at the right times and block and dodge enemies that have unblockable attacks, use tactics to your advantage, stealth and stuff like that. Just overall the gameplay, the combat, everything is just done well. Like, you can just tell they put a lot of time in this and making it the series that it had become. It's just amazing, and you have got to try this out, especially if you're a big fan of Batman like I am. You'll love the Batman Arkham games, and I love Batman Arkham City because it's just so much more of an open world. Took everything that was amazing about Arkham Asylum and just dialed that knob all the way up to 10 and just threw it into overdrive into making it even a bigger game. And so that's something I really love. I also love that this has all the DLC in it, as you get to play as Catwoman, which I didn't have the DLC for the 360. So as I'm playing through the story now, sometimes it stops and I get to see the world through the perspective of Catwoman, which is really cool. And then I saw that there's also, you can play as Harley Quinn through some missions and stuff that you can play after the game, which I've never experienced before. So that's awesome. And so I'm going for collectibles and stuff, and it's just awesome replaying this game and getting new missions to play that I didn't have because I didn't own the DLC. And these definitive editions on the Xbox One and PS4 have all that content on the disc for you. So that's something that I really love. I love that when you start out the game, Batman is like a level 1, and as you play through the game, he unlocks new gadgets and stuff. So you may be in an area where you might can't get to a certain area because you don't have a certain gadget or ability yet as you learn through you play through the game, which I like. As you play the game, Batman gets stronger, the enemies get stronger, he has to get new tactics to fight them, the computer gets smarter and stuff, and you have to think of new ways to take down enemies because it's not going to be as easy. They get much more difficult, but then Batman gets stronger. So I like that he's not like a super badass right at the beginning, even though Batman is a pretty big badass. But you have to unlock stuff so you don't feel overpowered in the beginning of the game. It makes it a fair challenge. And of course, you can play this on higher difficulties. The game gets even more difficult, but it's really cool. I even like the game over screen. Like if you die from an enemy, like let's say you fight Two-Face's enemies and you die, like he'll come out and he'll taunt you as Batman, or the Penguin you fight, he'll taunt you, Mr. Freeze. It's just so many classic Batman villains are in this game. It's just awesome running into them, and just the variety of personality of the characters and stuff, how they interact with Batman, just awesome. Oh, I just thought of his name, Kevin Conroy. This is the guy that voiced Batman. I just love his voice. He's like the best Batman voice ever. Loved him from the animated series. I'm so glad they got him to do the Batman voice for this series. So awesome. Highly recommend you guys check out Batman Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. Now, once I have Arkham City beat, then I'm going to move on to Batman Arkham Knight and Arkham Origins. Those are the two Batman games I have never played, but I recently picked up their collector's editions for my collection, as they're ones I really wanted. I missed out when they first came out, and I'm so glad that I've been able to add them to my collection this year. I got all 4 of them. It was a little over $200 for all those 4, $50, about $50 each for each one, and then tax and stuff. But such a wonderful series, I think you guys should check out. So we'll do our quick little recap like we do every week. I talked about Aliens Fireteam Elite. I was disappointed in the story department and stuff. The voice acting and the music, isn't the best. It's not the worst. It's just, kind of a middle ground, like a 6.5. I'd rate the game. It's still fun to play, though, especially if you're a fan of alien games like I am. You get to go through and fight hordes of aliens and stuff. There's a variety of them. It's still cool discovering some secrets and stuff as you do play through the 4 campaigns. I'm working on the second one of 4 right now. I'm having fun with it. It's just, it could have been a lot better than it is, but it's still one I would recommend you guys check out. And then we talked about Batman Arkham City, such a fantastic follow-up to Arkham Asylum. Everything that was great about Arkham Asylum is in Arkham City and made even better. The graphics get better, voice acting better, music, lighting, combat, everything in the game just is improved upon in Arkham Asylum. And moving it from 360 to Xbox One, the graphics get a good boost, which is great. And so I really love that. They're like basically kind of like remastered versions of the 360 one with the better lighting and visuals and everything. And it's a fantastic game. So I definitely think you guys should check out both of these. I'd like to know your guys' thoughts on it. If you played either of these games, how you liked them, maybe there's something you didn't like about them. I'd also like to hear about the games you guys are playing, as that gives me ideas of new games to check out. So I appreciate everyone who shares games they play with me. And if you have any suggestions on a game you think I should check out, let me know, as you guys do suggest really fun games. I have a nice growing list of games to check out thanks to your guys' recommendations. These past 2 years have been amazing, and I'm loving keeping this series going, as it's been a lot of fun to film these and share these video games with you and my thoughts and stuff on them and get your guys' thoughts. It's just fun having a nice dialogue here. I want to thank you guys for watching. Take care Have an amazing day, and Sleepy will see you next time.